comes in and they're saying, hey, do you know you got that sample from Samuel Jackson here? That's his bass line. It's like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I stole your bass line. Hey, let's record a song together called I Don't Give a Fuck About Your Bass Line. And stumps on the record. I'm Lester the Court and the Jester. And I was like, man, I thought the movie was hilarious.
No, the thing
but for the wrong reasons. For the right reasons. Only for
the right. No, the thing is it's a bad movie that I want to tell people to go and see simply because it's worth seeing it for the performances, and it's worth seeing it for the comedy between those two, because you will laugh. They will make you laugh. Those two are so fucking funny together. When they're smacking each other around early on in the movie, it is so goddamn funny. And the thing is neither of them are doing anything new. I mean, Sam Jackson is playing as, oh, you motherfucker, I am so he's playing the educated, angry black man, and Bernie Mac, and he's doing stuff that's borderline like old school. Like the eyes bugging out, and whoa, and playing the it's you know what? I'm not even going to try to do the impression, but
no, because you're like whoa,
you know what Bernie.
They even
Mac
had
does.
that scene where it seemed like Bernie Mac was really mad. I wonder if he knew the camera was on, because he's out in the hallway like, it just let him rant. Motherfucker, come here talking to me like that, talking that shit to me, talking to motherfucking me like that.
And that's so Bernie Mac. But the thing is those. But you put those two together, and it's a whole different scenario. All of a sudden, they get each other on a genetic level. Their comedy is just perfectly timed. These two just nail it. And they take – this movie's so fucking cliched, but they make cliched jokes work.
Yeah, I would – look, we have already said it's a bad movie, but if I had paid to see this, I would not feel disappointed. That's why I would give it a matinee.
No. And, dude, and that thing at the end where they did the little –
tribute to Bernie Mac.
Tribute documentary, and they've got this great little sequence where it's all this EPK stuff of him talking about what it is to be a comedian and what he owes the audience.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of getting to you in the gut, and you see him do some stand up for the crowd that's there, extras, and they have to practically pull him off stage. It's like, dude, that's cool. And then they show pictures of Bernie Mac with Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
And they're playing Isaac Hayes' version of Never Can Say Goodbye.
Yeah.
I started tearing up like a bitch. It was just like, oh man, this is the last time I'm going to see these guys.
Okay. I was strong for everybody.
These guys were awesome.
I was in there fanning you. It's okay. Carl.
Oh Lord, why'd you have to take it from me? No, give it back, Isaac Hayes.
It's okay, Carl. That's okay.
He's a bad mother.
You were the fat black woman in church. That's
right.
Hey, look. This is not a joke, because I know I always joke saying black people love this and that. This is a movie that black people will get and laugh at.
But the thing is it's a black movie that white audiences will fucking laugh at. That's the thing, is that there's a lot of black humor in there, but it's black humor that actually translates. That's what I think works so well. This is that great. It was a great crossover duo, and it's something that we'll never see those two in the movie they belong in together.
Yeah,
because they needed a script that was on par with something like Grumpy Old Men, something that connected with audiences, something that had a little something to it, not just let's put two guys on a road trip. Why? Because one of them doesn't like to fly. All right, B.A. Baracus.
Exactly, yeah. A Rain Man or whatever.
I pity the fool that put me on a plane.
I love that whole device of I'm scared to fly. I mean,
he didn't even say he's scared to fly. He said, like, I don't like planes. It's like, really? So now we're going to have to drive across country, and I bet the car's going to break down. I wonder if you're going to end up sleeping with someone who steals your money. Will you guys end up in jail? Gee, big surprise.
Every little cliche of a road trip movie's in there, man. How many road trip movies have we seen where people end up in jail?
This year.
Like
there's been
Sex Drive recently.
And then, you haven't seen Fanboys yet. Fanboys also.
I did see Fanboys. I was there that night.
Fanboys.
Fanboys is another, yes.
Wieners.
I don't even
me
know.
And it was something both me and Cyrus had to see.
Wieners.
Yeah, it was a really bad independent road trip movie where they drive across country in a Wienermobile handing out hot dogs.
I think we can. Okay.
I'm serious. I'm not shitting.
I still don't want to see it.
Nobody look that up, please. If you look it up, look up Cyrus's review, and he'll pretty much.
Yeah, don't look up Wieners.
Yeah, he's got a review on the site where he talks about how unspeakably god awful it is, because it's pretty unspeakably god awful. So
and if you look up Wieners, you probably get pictures of penises and all that kind of shit.
Well, if you type in Corey Wieners. Definitely,
you will get that.
Yeah, Red Troll's out there typing it in right now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna be pissed at me for saying that.
Why not?
I'm gonna get an angry PM.
Yeah, you mentioned her name, not me. I just went with it. So I think we can officially say the whole thing of a road trip movie where they go to jail at some point, done. We don't need that anymore.
But and it's not even done cleverly this time. That's the thing.
In this movie, no,
it's like because at least in the other ones there are good reasons for it and it's amusing, and in this one it's just like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me, dude.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's worth seeing it because watching Bernie Mac and Sam Jackson break out of jail is fucking funny.
Look, anytime those guys on screen together,
See
it
that?
was funny.
I'm a hostage.
Yes, right. Yeah, but you know, for me, I'm a hostage. Yeah, so yeah, I would recommend the movie, but only with the caveat of that this is not a good movie at all.
But the thing is it's for you spilios out there, you guys who those of you who appreciate performances and who know of the comedy genius of Sam Jackson and Bernie Mac. This movie was for you guys.
Comedy stylings of.
So
what would you give it then?
You know what? I would say it's a strong rental.
Okay.
I mean, I would go and see it at a matinee, but I can't tell anyone a matinee because really the writing and direction here, it's really piss poor weak. But literally, whenever the camera is just on those two, it's so worth it.
I was about to give up on the movie, and I was really shaking my head. And I don't know where it happened when those guys got on the road. I really started laughing hard. And I'm like, this
rim job, baby, rim job. That bit had me in stitches so hard. I've been quoting that for a week now.
Just don't look at me when you
come
say
in
that.
for Super Soul Sundays and get your rim job for free. Rim job, baby, rim job.
I've never had one, but so
you've never been to Super Soul Sundays?
No, I don't plan on going.
You don't get your car washed and waxed.
Brother Bernie's gone now, so I won't get my Bernie Mac rim job.
No Bernie Mac rim job.
No, not for me. So, hey, Captain America. What about that, man? I love the Rocketeer.
You know, I love the Rocketeer too, and I love the Rocketeer when it came out 15 years ago. Joe Johnston, everybody keeps pointing to the Rocketeer, but Joe Johnston doesn't have a career filled with really awesome movies.
No, when I have to admit this, Rocketeer, and by the way, I'm kind of angry about that. I have been laughed at for talking about how much I love the Rocketeer for years, and now it's all of a sudden getting all this love.
No, Rocketeer's always gotten love. The thing is who's giving it love. The thing is, for years you've gotten laughed at, but for years comic book culture was forced into the closet, and it was embarrassing for an adult to admit that he was a comic book fan. Now it's with as huge a hit as these comic book movies are, everybody admits they're a comic book. Douchebags in high school playing football, like, oh yeah, I read Superman and Spider-Man. I know the comic books. I'm hip. It's like, no.
The movie itself, I could see why, and because it didn't do that well when it came out.
No.
It wasn't a big property. The Rocketeer was not a superhero anybody knew anything about.
No.
It was a good comic, though. And looking at the movie, I was like, they did a really good job with this as a film. It's a really great adventure film. And so, but Joe Johnston, you're right. When they said Captain America, I was like, well, I'll look and see, but it didn't really jump out at me like, wow.
Yeah, no, it's not someone I'm particularly excited about, but I'm not turned off either. It's not somebody that it's like this guy does, period. Right now he picked up the reins for Mark Romanek, and he's shooting Mark Romanek's version of The Wolfman, and that could be awesome.
You know something though? I'm really not impressed with the stuff I've seen with The Wolfman. I've given it a chance. I'm just saying what I've seen, or maybe it's because we were talking about this. Jamie and I were talking about this today at Comic-Con. They brought Benicio del Toro out and whoever his co-star is, the actress, and that fucker was drunk, or high, or tweaking or something. He did not sell that film at all.
Well, the thing is keep in mind at Comic-Con they hadn't even shot a frame yet. I mean, they didn't start shooting till August.
What do you mean they did? They did shoot. I mean, they had the movie pretty much done. They showed us a whole 10-minute scene from the movie. I mean, it gave a presentation.
I thought they were shooting in August.
Man, they shot.
Or were they shooting up until August? Is that what I'm confused?
Maybe that's why he came out confused because we saw something.
They showed you something?
We saw a lot of shit from that.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
I guess they were finishing up in August. I guess that's what it was. They wanted it in the can by. There was a whole.
In fact, they showed him as the Wolfman.
Joe Johnston took over for Mark Romanek, and this was Mark Romanek's big follow-up film. And there was a whole big.
And that's right. Yeah, I remember he left the movie.
Well, and he left, and there was a whole big issue because effectively, the whole story hasn't really come out. But effectively, what happened was Romanek needed some work done on the film. Something needed to be changed. He wasn't happy with a certain segment of the film. Universal just wanted him to cut it. They're like, look, just cut it. And he's like, no, it has to be rewritten. Well, we've got a writer's strike on. You can't rewrite it. And so they wanted to save money. And they're like, look, just cut it. And he's like, look, the film isn't the film that I want without these scenes. We've got to fix them. And rather than shuffling those scenes to the end of shooting and hoping that the writer's strike ended, he got into a big fight with them and ended up either leaving or getting fired. And then they brought in Joe Johnston to shoot everything that he'd set up.
Okay, maybe I said it just doesn't look. It doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look like wow.
I would never ever in a million years think Joe Johnston could step in for Mark Romanek. I mean, Joe Johnston is a shooter, and he shoots fun genre
and Mark
stuff.
Romanek is...
well, people know him as 1 Hour Photo, but where you really need to see Mark Romanek's work is in his video collection. He did a bunch of really inventive Nine Inch Nails videos back in the 90s and a bunch of other stuff. He's just a visual genius.
I love 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah, no, 1 Hour Photo is great. He did the Perfect Drug video that's just so fucking surreal. And that guy was supposed to do Wolfman. So I have no clue. I'm just saying he does period, and he does get that kind of stuff, but it's just not an exciting choice.
Yeah, it didn't really leap out as somebody who will actually just. It seemed like judging from what Joe Johnston has done, it's going to be made as if it's tailor-made for a blockbuster. Nothing really new or visionary is going to be brought to it like we had with somebody. Like I don't expect another Christopher Nolan to come in and do a Captain America movie, but
he might get it. He might. I mean, he is in love with that time period. With the right script, I think Joe Johnston can do it. I mean, Joe Johnston did direct the one good Jurassic Park movie.
Thank you. I keep telling people that's the only one that made sense to me and was actually any good.
Because he got it. It was a monster movie. He wasn't straddling the line like Spielberg was. Spielberg was trying to make both a kids movie and an adult horror film at the same time. Joe Johnston just said, make it a fucking monster movie. Run through the jungle and have them chased by dinosaurs.
They didn't have to do anything.
Dinosaurs fight.
And that's what I'm trying to say. I just don't want it to come out feeling so much like a generic studio film.
Yeah,
that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, that's what I'm worried about too. But we'll see what happens.
But I'm gonna be fair.
With the right script, Joe Johnston could be great and could do that film that we needed to see.
But even as much as I like the Rocketeer, I don't want to see Captain America be another Rocketeer. I don't even want to see it be that pure. I want to see it be kind of dirty. I mean,
I would like that too. I'm really curious to see how they're gonna play that. If it's gonna be the purity, or if it's gonna be the bravado, ball swinging, 1942 American kicking ass in Germany.
That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, it's a guy running around in a red, white, and blue outfit with a big fucking shield. I mean, that's a corny fucking image for me.
Yes,
you're gonna have to make him kick ass for that to work.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't want to see it be real hokey or real too steeped into. We're actually trying to make a nostalgic World War II movie. I want to, make it edgy.
Yeah.
From what you're telling me, maybe that's why Benicio del Toro came out drunk. Maybe he knew that it wasn't looking that good. He's like, I'm going to talk about this movie.
Or maybe he was at a convention and just got drunk.
He got drunk. They asked that fucker a question. They said, so how do you go about playing the Wolfman? You run.
Dude, that's fucking. See, the thing is nobody. I'm the only one that's going to get the humor of that, because there's this expression you just made, this ready to pounce expression. The I'm coming to get you.
Well, you can hear me asking Jamie over the recording, like, is he fucked up right now? We were like, he ain't saying shit about this movie that's worth anything. Like, just give him another drink, man. Let him sit up there and sing a song or something. That'd be funnier. But
what he needed was you to play off of. Because with beer and Corey, everything.
Shit, I am the wolf man.
Well, I've seen that. You threw a chair at us.
No.
You still don't remember the chair incident. You threw a fucking chair.
I threw a chair. Where was I when I threw this chair?
At Austin
Access
ACC.
cable?
Yeah.
I threw a chair at you guys?
Yeah. Well, not at us. You threw it at the wall.
Okay, now see that's different. Now I didn't throw a chair at you. I threw it at the wall. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
No, you threw a chair.
Of course, at the time I was in mid-level change too from the Wolfman, so I probably don't remember what happened.
You were pretty fucking insane.
Oh!
You were forced in another room where you could not touch the camera equipment, and you could not.
What the fuck?
Do you not remember this day at all?
Who took me into another room?
No, you remember when we decided we were going to shoot the show with all 5 of us in the same room rather than being in 2 separate rooms like we did it for years, and we were all sitting there, and George was in the control room with
yeah, no, I do remember that.
Hoffenpfeffer.
Yeah, with Klaus. Yeah.
But yeah, and you lost your damn fool mind and you threw a chair.
Okay, I mean, I'm not denying that happened. In fact, I'm not denying anything. I'm sure it did. I just wish I could remember. I did a lot of crazy shit.
Well, we
back
all
then.
remember that because whenever somebody feels like going nuts on you, the rest of us pull them aside and go, "Now wait a second. You do remember this is a motherfucker that threw a chair?" And then everybody laughs and goes, "Yeah."
Well, I haven't thrown chairs in years.
Nope.
I don't think I've thrown a chair since.
Still that guy though.
Man, I haven't lost my
Still the
mind.
guy that threw that chair.
That guy.
You could
I've controlled
be
that
defeated
guy.
by the Red Skull and frozen for 60 years in ice. You'll wake up and throw a chair. That's the Corey Coleman superhero I want to see. The guy who carries a chair on his back and flings a chair at bad guys.
It's a boomerang
Bing,
chair.
bing. Don't mess with him. Why?
Corey
He got a
Coleman
chair.
throws his mighty chair. No, man, damn. Hey, look, I apologize. I'm sure it happened. I'm sure it did. I could have been drunk at the time when it happened. I don't remember. You know how it was back then.
I think that might have been the case.
I know how it was back then.
I
had a
do.
lot of pressure.
Most of it in a 12-ounce can.
And you know how it comes out when you open it. All right. So what else is going on this week?
I don't fucking know. You always have things set up. You're like,
No, I
okay,
do.
we're moving here, and then you're like, what else is going on?
I do have something here.
Good. Yeah, you had an email, right?
I do. I have an email ready. It's a good email because it's usually the other way around, this question for me. But I was thinking, and it's a hard one. I couldn't think of anything this guy was asking. And what he's asking is, this is from Mason Daniel. And he says,
Mason Daniel. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like someone who should have the third after his name. This is Mason Daniels the third.
it does, Esquire. Okay, and you know what, Mason? I'll answer your question, but that was not the question I want to.
Damn it, Jim. Well, what's his question? Ask his question real quick.
Okay, all right.
And then you can, while I'm answering that question, you can move on and find the email you really wanted.
If I could even find that one again, I lost it. But basically, he asked, what are some of your favorite villains in movies for the evil deeds they've done? And I thought that was an interesting question because most of the people that I've seen as really evil in movies, besides Nazis, which I think make great villains because I hate them, I remember watching Sling Blade, and I have never really hated a character as much as him in a long time. Dwight Yoakam in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I guess he can count as a villain in that film. For people who haven't seen Sling Blade, Dwight Yoakam plays an abusive boyfriend to this kid's mother. In fact, is this Lucas Black that was in the movie? Nobody remembers that kid. He's grown up now. He would think. I think he was in Friday Night Lights, the movie, not the TV show. But he was a little kid in Sling Blade, and his mom is going out with this boyfriend played by Dwight Yoakam, and the guy's abusive to the mother. The guy's abusive to the kid by yelling at him all the time, and he talks to a Billy Bob Thornton character who is mentally retarded in the movie. He talks to him really bad until Billy Bob Thornton says, "I had enough of this shit. Now I won't ruin any more from there." But I thought he was great in that movie. I thought he was really, really, really despicable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go in a completely opposite direction. And one of my favorite villains of all time is Hans Gruber, played by from Die Hard, played by Alan Rickman.
Oh yeah.
And I've always loved him because he's an evil fucker. I mean, he really is. I mean, he shoots Nakatomi in the head. He's willing to kill all these people just for some money. But the whole time, he just seems so annoyed. He doesn't hate McClane, and he's not like, "Oh, I'm going to get that motherfucker." He doesn't come from from that. He's like always annoyed. He's like, Hans, go to the roof and kill this motherfucker for me. He's just always, every time John McClane gets him, he's just like, it's pissing him off. And it's like, dude, this motherfucker is getting in my shit.
Because they had it so planned, they never counted on that guy being there.
Yeah, and it's cop. And I just love how annoyed he is and how greasy he is, but how he's so good and so educated. And one of my favorite lines from the movie is like he goes and they ask for his demands, and he's like, and I want you to release these such and such from the prison in Tibet. And one of the guys looks at him like, what are you talking about? He's like, I read about it in Time.
No, he was a great villain. I didn't hate him, but I really thought he was just so cool.
Alan Rickman had these 3 movies in a row where he played villains, and it was so great.
Was Robin Hood one of them?
Robin Hood was one of them, where he played the Sheriff of Nottingham. Yeah. And then Quigley Down Under, where he plays that guy that wants to. Oh, dude! If you love westerns, you got to see Quigley Down Under.
No, I've heard it's great. I just haven't seen it.
It's a great underrated western, and Alan Rickman plays this guy who really wants to be a gunslinger, and he just worships the whole notion of the gunslinger, and is so excited to be down in the old west of Australia where he can be a gunslinger, and he hires Quigley to go and take care of this Aborigine problem he has, and Quigley has to go and kill these Aborigines for him. And when he realizes what he's there for, he gains the enmity of this guy who hired him because he didn't want to kill Aborigines. And so he's just so great at being despicable. I love Alan Rickman so much.
I gotta see that movie. I'd like
to
check that out.
And those 3 performances all together are like my favorite string of villains of all time. He was just so good at playing really nuanced, well-developed villains that weren't cartoony at all. They did what they were supposed to do, and they were iconic, but he always seemed so annoyed by the people working beneath him, like a true boss. It was really
I've heard great things about Quigley Down Under. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I really don't like that movie, and I thought that was below Alan Rickman because he was playing at that point he had been labeled as the European villain.
Yeah.
And he was just doing the same
thing
in that movie.
Scene where, that great scene at the end where he's like having the black mass with Maid Marian, and he's like, he does that maneuver where he gets up on top of her and spreads the legs with his feet.
I have seen that movie only twice. And
I haven't seen it in well over a decade, but I remember that move because it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, this guy was, dude, he was so over the top. It was great. I love that guy.
Here's a good question. This is the question that I wanted to get.
Here's the question you wanted.
Bad movies, and this is from. I don't even know if I should try and read this. ITK. He got all of them mixed up in caps and lowercase. Zmank or Zmanx. Okay, I ain't gonna read this shit anyway. Have you ever seen a movie that you liked at first, but every time you watch it, you begin to hate it more and more? I see movies that I don't like, and I begin to like more and more, but it's harder the other way around. You have any? Can you name any?
Well, I've got lots, but it all. I mean, there's a couple different phenomena you're talking about. There's the one where you really like a movie, and then for some reason you start not liking it. You see it a couple more times, and it just wears out on you. There's the one where you really like a movie, and then somebody says something that ruins it for you, and then you can never watch it the same again. You fucking hate it afterwards. And then there's the movies you loved as a kid that you watch again as an adult and don't hold up. Like
I was trying to avoid that.
Because The Barbarians is that one for me. That's the infamous one where when I was 10 years old, The Barbarians was the coolest fucking movie on the planet. It starred the Barbarian brothers, those wrestlers, and it was Conan. It was a Conan movie. It was so fucking cool. And I went to Blockbuster every week, and I could rent anything in the store, and I rented that same motherfucking movie every week, and my parents would never watch it with me, and I never understood why. And I watched this movie over and over again, and then I was working in a video store. I was about 25 years old, and I I pulled it out. And I said, "Oh, the Barbarians! Oh my God, I haven't seen this since I was a kid. I got to watch this." And it's the worst fucking piece of shit I have ever seen.
Okay.
It was just like, oh man. But no, a great example is the Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Not the Incredible Hulk,
but the Ang Lee Hulk.
The Ang Lee Hulk. Loved it the first time I saw it. Loved it. And then everybody was complaining about it, and I went back and watched it again and said, I still like this movie. I see what they're talking about. And I sat down to watch it a third time, and I'm like, wow, I still don't like this movie anymore. And I won't watch the Hulk ever again. I won't watch any
Really?
of these. I loved it the first time. I really did. But by the third time, I did not want to watch that movie again. And yeah, no, I've definitely got movies like that. The Hulk is the one that really stands out, though.
Okay, that was a good thing that you named there. A movie from your childhood that you saw, and then a movie that you've seen as an adult. And you're like, if I was to say a movie from my childhood, I remember recording just late one night a movie called I couldn't remember the name of it, but I recorded this movie. It had stop motion monsters, and it was and they were attacking these people who was trapped in the forest. And I recorded that, and I recorded over it like maybe a year later or something. But I used to watch it probably about I don't know, once a month, because I was really into stop motion at the time and everything. And since I recorded over it, I can never remember the name of that movie. Now, one weekend, I'm at a video store somewhere, and I see a cover on a DVD set, and it looks like one of those monsters from the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, shit, that's the movie. And the movie was called Equinox. And before I bought it, I looked it up, and I was like, that is the movie. So I rushed over to Fry's to get the DVD box set, brought it home. It was the dullest shit I've ever seen. I was angry because I spent money on this shit, because I probably will hardly ever watch this thing. I might watch it one more time and then sell it. I don't know. But it was cool to watch, though, nevertheless, because it was, you might remember the names. I can't remember right now. The only name I remember is Rick Baker, the special effects genius right now. He actually helped out with the movie. And the movie, I mean, no, I'm going to keep this movie. It's a good little history keepsake. But some of the people who were responsible for Star Wars were involved. And they were all teenagers when they made it. And somehow it got released as a late night monster movie. And it's kind of cool looking, but it's so dull. It's not as cool as when I thought it was a kid. The other movie that I remember watching that I don't like that much anymore is, and people gonna laugh at me, is The Patriot. I saw The Patriot for the first time. I thought it was really cool. I wasn't bored. I was watching it, and then I saw it again. And people even told me, man, that movie's dumb. And I was like, look, okay, it's one of those movies I'm just going to defend. I like it. And then I saw it, and I was like, wow, that scene with all the black people on the beach really is kind of like the Ewok village. And so a lot of this stuff really is cheesy. And I was like, you know what? I only like this movie because of the battle scenes. And there's not a whole lot of that going on.
Isn't.
And so, yeah, laugh at me, people. I like The Patriot when I first saw it.
But it stars the Joker.
Heath Ledger, he died in the movie.
Now
that was a really hokey death scene, too.
Yeah. Now, that leads me to a question. What's your favorite thing you ever accidentally recorded? I don't know if people really do that anymore. I guess people with TiVo might have that kind of stuff happen.
I can tell you.
Stuff. But you remember back in the day when you would set your VCR and just record something because you really want to watch something, and then you'd accidentally record something else, and you're like, what is this? What's your favorite thing? I
can tell you, I don't know if it was my favorite thing, but I can tell you something cool that I stumbled across and recorded. And I did it just like you said. I didn't want to stay up late. I wanted to watch it the next night. They had a show that used to come on the Nashville channel or the Country Music Network or something. It was called Phantom of the Opry, and it was a guy who, since it was on the Country Channel, they just did a monster movie show at night, and that's where I looked in the paper, was just looking at names of shows, and they showed Little Shop of Horrors. And I was like, oh, that sounds funny. That sounds really cool. That sounds horrifying.
Now, are we talking? This is the old classic Roger Corman
exactly.
one.
And I remember watching. I was like, this is not as scary as I thought it was, but it sure is funny.
It's a cool, freaky flick too.
Yeah,
and it's the very first performance by Jack Nicholson.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I had that recorded on tape for a long time, and was showed to friends. Wow, what's yours?
Mine was a 70s exploitation kung fu movie from the Bruce Lee era. Remember when Bruce Lee died, and all of a sudden there were all these other Bruce Lees.
Yeah. The whole rip-off era of
The whole rip-off Lee era.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
this was one of those. It was called Soul Brothers of Kung Fu. And it was awesome. It was literally one of those where he did the magical finger thing where he'd stick the finger into people and then you'd see like the x-ray of the finger going into the body and the thump, 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 and the person would
like
die.
the story of Ricky type thing when they showed the bones breaking and stuff. Like
yeah, except it was
X-ray
so much cheesier than that, but it was literally about this Bruce Lee character who hooks up with a black
What's
guy
it
and fights a
called?
black Soul Brothers of Kung Fu.
I have got to try to find this.
And it was one of those things where it was literally they were playing it back to back with American Ninja, and I was recording American Ninja. I was a
I remember
kid.
American Ninja.
Dude, Michael Dudikoff was the man back in like 1986.
That's his name, Michael Dudikoff. Yeah.
I met him once when I was a kid, dude. He was fucking awesome, man. He was Michael
working
Dudikoff.
shopping carts at the grocery store. What was he?
No,
what you mean?
now maybe, but no, he was at a celebrity tennis tournament. It's
Really?
like, holy shit, it's Michael Dudikoff, and nobody else cared because nobody else was 12.
There's little Carlisle. They're like, hey,
There's little Carlisle going, "You're Michael Dudikoff. You're the American Ninja."
You're Michael Dudikoff.
And,
What's the name of the movie? Soul Brothers of
Soul
Vengeance?
Brothers. No, Soul Brothers of Kung Fu.
I have to find this. I'm going to make sure I write that down before you leave.
You know
Soul
what?
Brothers of Kung Fu.
Soul Brothers of Kung Fu. And I loved that film when I was young, man. I don't know if it holds up now, but at the time, Soul Brothers of Kung Fu was pretty kick-ass.
All right. I'm definitely going to make a note of that. So